We often judge a person by how smart he is because intellect is what makes a person successful. That's true to a certain extent. However, multiple studies have shown that emotional intelligence is far more important. People with higher emotional intelligence tend to have better relationships, stronger friendships, and in general tend to be more successful in life. And that's not by accident, because as humans, we are emotional creatures. We befriend people we trust and enjoy being around. We work with people who know how to deal with other people. But emotional intelligence isn't something you are born with. Often it's a skill that you should learn. Let's find out if you are a mentally strong person. Here are the 7 signs of mental strength. Number 1. Mentally strong people are not reactive. I remember back in college, the students who used to get bad grades would always complain about everything. The textbook was difficult to understand, the teacher wasn't good enough, the paper was harder than they expected. And that's what reactive people do. They always focus on the things they cannot control. On the other hand, a proactive person would say that the textbook is quite difficult to understand and the lecture isn't the best, but that's not something I can control. So instead of focusing on the things that I can't change, why don't I focus on the things that I can control? I can control the amount of time and effort that I'm going to put to get ready for this test. And that's the difference between a proactive person and a reactive. Reactive people are more concerned about their environment. If the weather is good, they feel good. If it's not, then it's going to negatively impact their attitude and performance. But a mentally strong person understands that he has absolutely no control over the weather. So whether it shines or rains, they don't care. They only focus on what they can control. Number 2. They do not compare themselves to others. People often value their worth by comparing themselves to others. If you haven't achieved as much as your peers, you're probably worth a lot less. And in the world of social media and Instagram, it has only got worse. Every time you pull out your phone to check out what's going on in your Instagram feed, you come across your friends who are doing something great, whose lives seem a lot better than yours. That destroys your self-esteem because you were on the same level a while ago and somehow they have surpassed you. But mentally strong people understand that life in general is not a competition. And comparing your worst times to your friends' best times isn't wise. That will only lead to depression and anxiety. Then how should you measure your progress? By comparing yourself to who you were yesterday. If you're moving forward, if you're changing your life for the better, then you are on the right track. We're all different in many ways, and your journey on this planet is going to be unique to you. The moment you compare yourself to others, you put yourself down, and mentally strong people understand that. Number 3. Self-reliance. Mentally healthy people know that the only person they can rely on entirely is themselves. Of course, friends and family are essential and their help is crucial, but the truth is, everyone is concerned about him or herself. And there is nothing wrong with that. That's human nature. How many times you were counting on a friend or a family member, but they let you down? Set your expectations low. Don't expect too much from people because you will end up disappointed. In fact, don't expect anything from anyone and no one will ever disappoint you. And when someone helps you out, you will be pleasantly surprised. Number 4. Life is unfair. Everyone at some point in their lives experiences injustice. That's when we think that life is unfair. But the truth is, life has never been fair. You don't choose where you were born, and yet being born in a first world country gives you a significantly higher chance to be successful compared if you were born in a third world country where you have to spend at least 12 hours a day just to put food on the table. You don't choose your parents, genes, or talents. You might be the most careful driver in the world, but someone else might be driving while he's drunk and might cross the red light and hit you where you end up losing your legs, for example. It wasn't your fault, but yet you ended up losing your legs. If you expect life to be fair to you, you won't go far. Number 5. You can't please everyone. A wise man once said, if you want to please everyone, go and sell ice cream. If you want to be a leader, if you want to achieve something great, you will have to upset some people. You will have competitors, you will have enemies, or at least there will be people who won't like you. Take an example of any successful person. Bill Gates, for example. He is not an angel, of course, but he has given billions of dollars to different charity organizations, spent billions of dollars to cure malaria in Africa, tried his best to prepare the world for such a pandemic, invested billions of dollars into companies to help them develop a vaccine faster. And yet, there are millions of people who hate him, criticize him, and spread different conspiracies about him. He's just one example. That's the case with every other successful person. Even if you achieve slightly more than your friends, they could get jealous and try to take you down or criticize you at least. And that's just one side of it. In life, you will have to take tough decisions. You will have to say no to people so that you will have the time to work on your projects. Number 6. Acknowledging your weaknesses. Being mentally strong doesn't just mean being able to stand your ground. It also means being emotionally strong enough to confront your deepest beliefs. As a human being, you are subject to mistakes and weaknesses. You cannot avoid that. If you are not ready to change your opinion when you find out you're wrong, then you are mentally weak, because only the strongest people have the ability to discipline their emotions and don't let anger or pride stand in their way. If you're bad at something, instead of denying it, pick up a book and learn. Don't expect to be born perfect. It's absolutely normal to have flaws. The challenge is to recognize that and put the effort and time to change it. Number 7. They take the extra mile. A lot of times, the difference between success and failure is that extra step which a lot of people don't take because they give up too early. Have you watched Elon Musk's interview when both of his companies were at the brink of bankruptcy? Tesla was running out of cash and SpaceX's third launch failed, and they didn't have enough money to try again. Investors were suspicious about the future of the company, and Musk was almost broke. When he was asked why isn't he giving up, he replied, "I would have to be dead to give up." That's an example of a mentally strong person. He used his last dollars and miraculously saved his companies. When you are at the gym doing pull-ups and you feel like you can't do more, that's when you have to push yourself to do another one. That extra pull-up is the one that's going to make a difference. If you tried 10 times and used 10 different ways but you still failed, get up and try one more time. When you get knocked down, don't stay down. Get back up again. Nothing good is going to happen as long as you're down on yourself. These are the signs of mentally strong individual. You might have some of them and lack others, but it's not a big deal because as long as you're willing to put the time and effort, you have the ability to learn them all. Believing in yourself to take that extra mile or focusing on the things you can control instead of the things you have no control over is a choice. And this choice comes as a result of your mentality. So start with your mind. Be strong enough to recognize your weaknesses, acknowledge your mistakes, and write down a plan on how you're going to raise your emotional intelligence and become mentally unshakable. And now it's your turn to let me know which one of these signs is the most important one and which one is your favorite one. I read all of your comments. And now it's time to give this video a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it and hit the subscribe button and the bell besides it. Thanks for watching, and until next time.